Hello, Chicago. Welcome on in to Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Adam Karnick here with you. Lots to get to on the show here tonight. Going to go through a bunch. We've got the Bulls on an absolute heater through the month of March. Have these guys figured something out? Is this the beginning of something? Or is all this fool's gold? We're going to kind of take a look through at the Bulls, try to figure out what we might be looking at here from these guys. The Cubs and the White Sox got started along with the rest of MLB over the weekend. Some surprising results, some familiar results from both clubs on both sides of town. We can look back at the first weekend of full MLB action. And then the NFL draft. It's less than a month away. We got lots to get through there. What might the Bears be doing? Lots to go through, lots to discuss, lots to get after. All that plus more coming up right here, right now on Chi-Town Weekly. Buckle it on up, everybody. Let's have some fun tonight. Let's go. Welcome. Hello, one. Hello, all. Welcome on in to Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am your host, Adam Karnick. Glad that you are here with us. Lots to get to on the show here tonight. Lots of things we're going to be getting on, talking about, discussing. The Bulls have been on a heater this month. They're getting ready to play the Oklahoma City Thunder out in OKC. We're going to keep an eye on that game. And we got to talk about the Bulls themselves, as they have won 8 times in the month of March, 8 and 5 overall. They are firmly entrenched in the play-in tournament. We got to discuss how real is this from these guys? How much of this is real? How much of this is a mirage? We'll be going through that with the Bulls as well, seeing what we can learn from them. MLB has gotten underway, both sides of town. Everybody in MLB has gotten going. So we're going to catch up on the Cubs and the White Sox. Some surprising results from over the weekend. Some also very familiar things on both sides of town. So we'll get caught up there as well. And then, of course, the NFL draft is we are in full draft mode. The NFL draft now less than a month out. Everybody's going to descend on Green Bay, Wisconsin. So we will get you set up and primed for everything coming up there, what the Bears might be thinking, what they might do, what might be coming up there. Lots to get to in the show here tonight. But before we get started, we need to hear a quick word from each of our sponsors. This is Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back after this. IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clinking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at SealTheDeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Adam Karnick back here with you. Want to say thank you, of course, to each and every one of our sponsors: Planet Jerky, Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, Vital Apparel, Seal the Deal Wax Seals, and also want to mention, they didn't have a drop in there, but want to mention Raw Nutrition Supplements. Go to getrawnutrition.com. Use the promo code IESR for 10% off of your order as well. So you can get taken care of both for what you're wearing while you're working out and making sure that you are absolutely maximizing that workout to the fullest. Want to say hello to everybody watching live here on the show tonight, whether it's across Facebook or YouTube or Twitter. You are tuned in live here to Chi-Town Weekly, part of IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Drop us a line in the chat room. Good evening, Taryn Rodriguez. Hope to have a great show. Thank you as well. Chris Crisanti stopped by for a little bit. I hope he'll be checking in a little bit later on as we get into some NFL draft talk. So we'll be catching up with him a little bit as well over on Facebook. But if you are watching live, hop on into the chat room. We can interact and have some fun that way as well. You can also interact with the show. We are on social media on Twitter at IESRC, or you can follow me personally. I am at Adam_Karnick. We'll want to start the show off tonight with some Bulls talk. They have been on a bit of a tear lately, and probably one of the most exciting games they have had all season long was the game last Thursday night against the Lakers at United Center. One of the biggest days we have had in Chicago sports. It was opening day for the Cubs and the White Sox, and then the Bulls were hosting the Lakers at United Center on Thursday night. All three teams won, but the Bulls were absolutely the most heroic, the most dramatic, the most incredible of the three wins, as the Bulls were down by 5 with just 12 seconds left in regulation, only to take the lead, give the lead up, and then Josh Giddey, a half-court heave, went in over LeBron James defending, and seeing the Bulls win the game 119-117 over the Lakers. Kobe White, 9 of 20 from the floor. He has been absolutely on a heater lately for the Bulls. You know, the team as a whole has been. 26 points for Kobe. Giddey, 25 points, including that game-winning 3. You had Herter with 21 points on 8 of 17 from the field. Zach Collins, a perfect 5 of 5 off the bench. Patrick Williams, 4 of 8 from the field, including a huge 3-pointer to get that run started in the last 12 seconds for the Bulls. Just an incredible game, and really showed you what the Bulls can be, what United Center and that environment can be when the Bulls are playing quality basketball, playing exciting basketball, and just being a team that people want to come out and see. Yes, they followed it up Saturday by losing a heartbreaker to the Mavericks 120-119, but still the Bulls in the month of March have been moving and shaking and making things work, beating the Lakers, winning at Denver against the Nuggets, beating the Kings, beating the Jazz, wins against the Pacers and the Heat, just making things work for this team. And suddenly we're asking, just how real is this? What exactly are we seeing from these guys? Is there something to this? Kobe White, we talked about this briefly at the end of the show last week. that he became the first Eastern Conference player to win player of the week back-to-back weeks since Jordan 30 years ago. Josh Giddey has put up over 220 points in the Bulls' last 10 games. He has been scoring at will. We're seeing better ball movement. Modest Buzelis is still growing and improving and showing good things as a rookie. So we're and obviously they're winning games as they come into play tonight, getting ready to take on Oklahoma City, which that's going to be a tough one, as the Thunder are the best team in the West at the moment, 62-12. Now, working in the Bulls' favor for this one tonight, the Thunder have clinched everything that they can clinch at this point. They have nothing necessarily to play for other than whatever pride they want. So maybe they're catching the Thunder at the perfect time, but if this is a straight up match, this is probably not going to go the Bulls' way tonight. But still, the Bulls are in a position where they are just 2 back of Orlando in the loss column for the 8 seed in the East. They're firmly entrenched in the play-in. They have all but clinched a spot in the play-in. I think Toronto is still technically alive at this point, but effectively the Bulls are in. Their magic number, I think, at this point to clinch is 1. They need a win, or they need a Toronto loss between now and the end of the season, and the Bulls will be in the play-in. But they could wind up in a spot where they only need to win 1 play-in game. The last 2 years when the Bulls have done this, they've been either the 9th or the 10th seed, and they've had to win twice to get into the actual playoffs. Now it's entirely conceivable they could wind up in that 8 spot. That even that 7 spot isn't entirely out of question with Atlanta. That's you're running out of days on the calendar at this point, I think, for that to happen. You're talking, you've only got 8 games left to jump 3 spots with only 8 games left. That feels like a lot to overcome, but the 8 seed with Orlando, that doesn't feel out of line at all. Oh, thank you. Jeff Osberg hopping into the comment. Well, thank you for the compliment. Yeah, I have the perfect voice for the show. Well, thank you. I certainly prefer my voice to my face. We'll put it that way. I have the perfect face for radio too. We'll just leave it at that. But thank you, Jeff. Thank you for the compliment. Listening in on Facebook. Appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words. But we could actually be seeing the Bulls. You get into that 8 spot and suddenly you only need to win 1 time and you're in the playoffs. So could we be seeing something from this group? Now, I'm not going to pretend like the Bulls get into the actual playoffs and we see anything other than a first round exit from them. I mean, you're talking going up against either Cleveland or Boston in the first round, and that's just not gonna go the Bulls' way at all in the long run. In a best of 7 series, I'm not going to try to blow smoke and say that they're going to survive and advance into the second round, but we would at the very least be seeing honest to goodness playoff in Chicago. First of all, just of any kind. We talked at the end of the calendar year and the beginning of the new calendar year, just how deprived as a sports fandom we've been all across the board. But then at United Center, especially, where that Lakers game Thursday night, that game against the Lakers showed you what kind of an atmosphere United Center can still have when you give the crowd reason to be there, reason to cheer, reason to be involved. They will absolutely show up, show out, and get behind the team. So are the Bulls for real? I don't think that we're necessarily going to see anything beyond a first round playoff exit from these guys. But I would have been shocked that we'd even be realistically talking about this even a month ago, at the end of February, as opposed to the end of March. I would have been shocked had we been talking about this. So good on the Bulls for having this. We'll see what happens as they get ready to, as they are getting ready to take on the Thunder tonight. They just got underway very early first quarter. We'll keep an eye on that game and on those scores, but encouraging, exciting. Will it amount to anything? Maybe not this year, but maybe they have got something. Giddey is on an expiring deal. He's going to be a restricted free agent. With the way he's played the last few weeks, he might have some additional suitors, but the Bulls will still, because he's a restricted free agent, the Bulls will be in a little bit better of position to protect themselves there. You've still got Modest Buzelis, who is incredibly young. You've got Kobe White, who has stepped up in a big way this past month. I don't know that it's enough pieces to do anything with. I don't know that they have the cap space to realistically add much to this team, but maybe they finally unlocked something. Maybe they have finally got something unlocked here. We will see. We will stay tuned and we will see. And maybe there's some glimmer of optimism out there at United Center. One place where there's always the glimmer of optimism is the beginning of the baseball season. Hope springs eternal when the baseball season starts. And lo and behold, from both sides of town, we saw reasons for hope. We also saw some reasons for frustration, but we saw some reasons for hope and optimism from those teams. We are going to switch gears and talk baseball next. This is Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We will be right back after this.
Hello, IE Sports Radio family and other sports families. My name is Alden Kay, and I want to welcome you to the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. If you're a fan of the Valley and the Grand Canyon State like me, then I've got the show for you. Tune in every week, where I will update you and give you the latest news for the Arizona Cardinals, Phoenix Suns, Arizona Diamondbacks, ASU Sun Devils, U of A Wildcats, GCU Antelope, and of course, the NAU Lumberjacks. Again, if you're a Valley sports fan and like all that is desert sports like me, tune in every week here on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll see you then.
Are you a fan of Minnesota sports? Do you love the Vikings and hate the Packers? Are you a fan of the Timberwolves, Twins, Wild, Lynx, St. Paul Saints? Here on the Bold North Breakdown, we'll talk about all of those professional teams as well as all the college teams in the area. That's your basketball teams, football, hockey, volleyball, men's and women's sports alike. We talk about them all. You're on the Bold North Breakdown. Join me, your host, Glenn Ritter, every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central to discuss all that is happening in the Minnesota sports scene. Here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Yeah, the first weekend of Major League Baseball is in the books. Hey, hello, Chris Crisanti, back in. Good. glad that I didn't lose you there, sir. And as you always have on that first weekend, you get the first pitch, you get the first game in, the pageantry, the excitement. You're never higher than that first game, and you're never higher after that first win, and you're never lower than after that first loss. Now, I know for the Cubs, it was a little different because they played those two games over in Japan. So this was kind of more of a restart rather than your traditional opener for the Cubs, but still it's the domestic opener. You're on the road in Arizona. You've got the energy of the Diamondbacks crowd there to feed off of, if nothing else. So I figured we'd start off with the Cubs, and then we'll go over to the White Sox next and talk about them. So we'll start with the Cubs here. 4 games in Arizona because, they've got the roof over the stadium. It's in Arizona. You don't have to worry about the weather being a factor at all. So you can get 4 games in. So MLB gets them going ahead and playing their 4 games. And it was a split. Let's face it. If you're going to have a 4-game series on the road, almost regardless of the opponent, I feel like a split, while you don't necessarily celebrate it, it's still mission accomplished. That's your goal, is don't drop 3 of these. Make sure that you at least take 2. So mission accomplished, Cubs going into Arizona and making sure that you at least don't drop 3 of them while you're in there. However, there's in that 4, you've still got some issues. We'll start with the good though. The offense was a concern based off of what we saw in Tokyo, based off of what we saw last season. That offense was one of the concerns. Oh, good evening, Brian. How you doing, sir? Brian Franchione checking in from the Boston area. Good evening, Brian. Glad to see you here. And in the 2 wins, and heck, even in one of the losses, the offense looked the part for the Cubs. You got 10 runs in the opener on Thursday night. Miguel Amaya, 5 RBIs and 2 doubles in that game. You had, 3 separate innings where the Cubs put up double-digit runs. You saw the bats come to life there. The win Saturday night, you got to see the long ball. We saw Kyle Tucker hit his first home run as a Cub. We got to see Matt Matt Shaw hit his first career home run in that game. So you got to see the long ball come into play there. And then in yesterday's game, they still put up 6 runs and 9 hits in the loss, and timely stuff too. They got 3 runs in the 8th inning last night. The Cubs. Kyle Tucker, his second home run of the season. So Tucker home runs in back-to-back games for the Cubs. But then on the flip side, the bullpen is still a problem. That still an issue for the Cubs. Giving up a run in the 9th inning on Thursday. Giving up a couple of runs in the loss on Friday. You had on Saturday, that thing got dicey. The Cubs are up 4-1 in the 9th inning on Saturday night, and that got really hairy. I mean, that got hairy in the 8th inning, even though nobody scored for Arizona in the 8th inning. That got harder than you would have liked it. Porter Hodge struggled in that 8th inning. You saw him when he got the strikeout to end the 8th inning. He gave a very emphatic cheer when he was done, and he had to work. He had to work hard at getting out of that inning. And then the pièce de résistance last night in the 8th inning, you just had the offense put up a 3 spot in the top of the 8th to make it 6-2, to give you some cushion, to give you a little bit of breathing room. And then you had 3 relievers combine to give up 8 runs in the 8th inning, and what was a 6-2 lead instead turns into a 10-6 loss. We talked about it last week a little bit in the overall season preview that 26 blown saves a season ago by this bullpen, and now you've got I don't know if it necessarily counts as technically a blown save or not from last night, but you've had back-to-back really shaky outings from the bullpen. And all right, last night you didn't have Presley out there last night, but you had Porter Hodge out there Saturday, and it didn't look good. It didn't look right. These were pieces that you brought in that were supposed to fix this problem. Yeah, it's March. Yeah, it's early. It's one outing, but it is a concern. But it is cause for concern. It is cause for anxiety for the Cubs. Now they're getting ready to play tonight. They're playing the A's. What do we call the A's now? Are they the Oakland A's? Are they the Las Vegas A's? Are they the West Sacramento A's? Whatever they are, they're out in California getting ready to play the A's for a 3-game set. Hopefully things go a little better in this set for the Cubs. For the Cubs tonight, we're going to see Ben Brown tonight, and it's going to be Ben Brown, then Justin Steele and Jamison Tyone. So 5, 1, and 2 in the rotation, just going in order there for the Cubs. Take 2 out of 3 from this one, Cubs. Let's take 2 out of 3. Let's feel good about this, and then we come home for the Wrigley Field opener on Friday and really get to have some fun playing at home for a little bit. The White Sox, meanwhile, now we got to talk about the South Side a little bit here. Wow. Talk about optimism. Now, let's preface this by saying it wasn't exactly a high bar to clear to feel any kind of optimism about the White Sox. You know, I have openly spoken all offseason about how little enthusiasm I have for the White Sox this season. Everybody was talking about how they're going to be better. They have to be better than last year. They can't be as bad as last year. My attitude was, I'll take that bet, because they have made every indication that they don't want to be better than they were a season ago, including the win today over the Twins. And wow, did the Twins look horrible to start the season. The White Sox are 2-2, including that opening day win against the Angels. It got the White Sox over 500 for the first time in 2 years, since opening day 2023. Impressive stuff from the Sox. And it has been, as the bats have gone, so the wins have gone, through these first 4 games. In the games that the Sox have won, they've outscored their opponents 17-1. In the 2 games they've lost, they've been outscored 4-2. So, if they're scoring runs, they're winning games, which is, we'll talk about that on a couple levels here. First of all, the offense you've had in that opener, you saw 9 hits, 8 runs on 9 hits from the Sox, including the home run from Austin Slater. And then Benintendi got in on the act, his first home run of the season. Lenine Sosa added in a home run. You had, even in the loss yesterday, they still scattered 7 hits, including another home run in there. And then today, the bombs were just going off. 2 separate 3-run homers, 9 runs, all in the first 3 innings for the Sox. And then it was, you could just coast the rest of the way. At that point, Andrew Vaughn, a 3-run home run. Andrew Benintendi, his second home run of the season already, another 3-run shot. And then Taylor with a home run. Michael Taylor with a 2-run blast there. So when the offense is on, my gosh, this is kind of fun to watch. There's more reason to go to the ballpark than just to get yourself a milkshake. Though they've got a new one of those this year that is apparently impressive as well. We'll see. I'll see if I make it out there and give that one a try this year. There's more than just milkshakes to go to the South Side this year. And then the starting staff, as good as the offense has been, the starting staff has been even more impressive. Now, there's a little bit of a caveat on this stat here. But I saw this one as I was getting ready for the show tonight. The White Sox are one of just 4 teams since 1976 where each of their first 4 starters went 5+ innings and did not allow an earned run through the first 4 games of the season. Now, there is a little bit of a caveat there because earned run is the significant statistic there. Because Davis Martin did give up 2 runs to the Angels yesterday, but they were both unearned in the first inning. So you've got the White Sox staff as a whole has just given up 2 earned runs through the first 4 games. 1 each to the Angels, 1 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday. But that is incredibly impressive. First go around, you had Sean Burke go 6 innings of shutout baseball on the opener on Thursday. 6 innings of just 3 hit ball. Follow that up on Saturday. Yes, it was a loss, but still, Jonathan Cannon, 5 innings. He worked around 4 hits and 3 walks, got himself 5 punch outs. Yeah, you'll absolutely take that. You will absolutely take that. We talked about we talked about for the game on Sunday for Martin. 6 innings, 4 hits, just the 2 unearned runs in the first inning. The weather delay did him in there, though he probably was going to be done anyway. He'd thrown 91 pitches. He was probably going to be done anyhow, but the rain delay made it absolute certain. And then Martin Perez this afternoon, 6 innings, only allowed 3 base runners, gave up 3 walks, didn't allow a base hit, and struck out 9 this afternoon. What a performance. What a performance for the Sox. Now you've got let's see, who are the Sox going to be throwing tomorrow? It looks like they have Shane Smith listed as the starter for tomorrow. So we are going to see the number 5 starter for the Sox tomorrow. I thought maybe they'd go back to Burke because they had the off day in there, so they wouldn't necessarily need to go with the 5th starter, but they're going to go with Shane Smith. He's scheduled to start tomorrow. But impressive stuff by the Sox. Again, it's early. You know, the Angels aren't going to be a great team, and the Twins are off to a horrible start to the season. So, but still, these are the White Sox. I was expecting next to nothing from them, and instead they've shown that there's reason to go out to the ball games besides all the extracurricular stuff, that the product on the field could very much be watchable and enjoyable. All right. We are going to take for ourselves one more quick break, and then the NFL draft is right around the corner. We are less than a month. We're going to dive into it a lot in the next coming weeks, but we'll kind of set the table for it here This is Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We will be right back after this. Hockey fans, I'm Adam Kernick.
And I'm Zach Puplis.
Together, we are the newest version of Hockey Talk on IE Sports Radio, The Neutral Zone.
Zone.
We love hockey, but we also know it's not everyone's first sport. So we want to make this show as much for new fans as for the diehards.
Whether you can name all the Swedes on the 08 Red Wings Stanley Cup team, or if you can't tell if Varlamov is a goalie or the latest trendy vodka, we're here to help. With facts, figures, and outrageous fans, we bring you all the hard-hitting hockey news you can handle, while still keeping it fun and on the rails. Well, mostly.
So tune in every week as we go around the hockey world, from college to Canada, the minors and the majors, and everywhere in between.
So bring your cellies,
And your one-timers,
you wicked wristas.
and be sure to protect your five-hole.
Catch the Neutral Zone every week on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We promise not to pick on the Arizona Coyotes every episode.
What's up, everybody? This is Taryn Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back on into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Adam Kernick here with you for just about another 10 minutes or so left for the show tonight. All right, we talked a lot of Bulls. We talked a lot of baseball. Actually, talking about those Bulls, how are they doing against the Thunder? Well, the Thunder are deciding to take this game a little seriously tonight, so that's okay. With just under 8 minutes to go in the first half, the Thunder are up 43-24. So the Bulls in a bit of a hole, in a bit of a bind right now in this one, looking around the NBA, you know, the ones you want to be keeping an eye on, of course, as well. The Hawks and the Hawks and the Magic. The Magic are playing and they are losing at the end of 3. They're only down 3 to the Clippers. So hopefully the Clippers can do the Bulls a favor and at least keep the Magic close there, to keep it just within 2 games in the loss column. See what the Bulls can do there. So we talked Bulls in the first segment. We talked baseball in the second segment, caught up on both sides of town. Now let's go to the one that it's never out of season. It's never out of style to talk NFL, and specifically the NFL draft. It's coming up. We are even though the calendar is still technically March, we are less than a month away from the NFL draft. Feels like we kind of know what the Titans are going to do at number 1. It feels very much like quarterback, probably going to be Cam Ward. Beyond that, it really feels like it's very much up in the air at this point. We're very much in the season of misinformation, or as I always love to call it, lying season, where these teams are just trying to just confuse and misdirect you as much as they possibly can. And so I see things like the Browns saying that they're willing to trade out of the number 2 pick. And it makes me think that, oh, they're not looking at a quarterback. Well, wait a minute. Yes, remember what time of year it is. You can't take this stuff at face value. Then you see that the Raiders might be interested in Ashton Genty all the way up at 6. Oh, wow. Okay. That's awfully high, but we've seen running backs go there. Well, wait a minute. Remember what time of year it is. You can't take this stuff at face value at this point. For me, with the Bears, and what seems to be picking up a lot of steam right now for the Bears in particular is either Ashton Genty or to look at going tight end. Those are things that seem to be picking up a lot of steam and a lot of traction for the Bears right now. Maybe somebody like a Tyler Warren for the Bears. I can see those things happening. We'll dive into this more in the next several weeks. We've got, let's see, the draft is coming up the 24th through the 26th. So we've got 3 shows between now and then where we will dedicate segments to some different prospects and some different players that I think the Bears could absolutely be interested in. By the way, if there is a prospect that you like or you are interested, hit me up either in the comments section in the show right now, or hit me up on social media. Again, you can follow the station at IE Sports Radio on all the social media platforms, but you can also follow along with me on Twitter. The show is at IESRC, or you can follow along with me personally. I am at Adam_Kernick. You can follow along on either of those. Hit me up with a player or a position that you are specifically interested in, and I will absolutely focus in on that player, on that prospect, on that position, and we can absolutely do a deep dive on them. I'd love to do that. I've done that the last couple of seasons. I have done things like that each of the last couple of seasons. So we've got each of the next 3 shows. We will absolutely be diving in depth into some of the different players and some of the positions on what the Bears could do at 10. Running back to me at 10 still feels like a luxury that I just don't know that the Bears can afford at this point. I still would really like to see them attack the trenches, either offensive or defensive side of the ball. Those are definitely some things that I'm going to be diving into here the next few weeks in the show. We're going to be looking at offensive linemen, specifically left tackle. That's absolutely going to be a position that I want to discuss and digest and dissect. And also, I want to talk defensive line, tackle or end. I'm okay with both of those for the Bears. Running back still, to me, at 10 feels a little bit like a luxury. I do have some concerns with Ashton Genty. It just overall as a prospect as well. I do wonder how much of his success, I wonder how padded his stats from Boise State were. You watch some of the tape And hey, you can only go up against whoever's across from you. Ashton Genty does not need to apologize to anyone. Certainly not to me. He certainly would not need to apologize to a schmuck like me for his production over the last 2 seasons. You can only run up against who you run up against. But the level of competition he faced, it's going to be a step up going into the NFL. You're not going to have as many. How do I want to say this nicely? It's going to be a lot harder to break a tackle in the NFL than it is to break a tackle in the Mountain West or in the whichever conference Boise is in now. I want to say Mountain West. If I got that wrong, this is where, a producer save me from saying the dumb things. Yes, the Mountain West. The level of talent you're going to see. My mom chiming in. Don't call my son a schmuck. Point being, Ashton Genty does not have to apologize to anyone, least of all to me, for the production that he's put up at Boise State. Certainly, he has put up terrific numbers, but there's going to be a world of difference between running against guys in the Mountain West Conference and guys in the National Football League. It's going to be a heck of a lot harder to break a tackle in the National Football League than it is in the Mountain West. Even with the step back, you could argue that defenses in the NFL have taken over the last decade or so, they're still the cream of the crop. They're still the best of the best. So I have issues and concerns not only with the position of running back, but with the prospect too. And not that I think Ashton Genty is going to be a terrible running back. I'm not saying that at all. I just don't know that he's going to necessarily turn into head and shoulders clearly the best running back in this class. And so to take him at 10 feels a little gratuitous, a little not necessarily maximizing your pick. Ideally, this is the last time the Bears are picking in the top 10 for a few years at least. Hopefully they can avoid that and we can be picking down, in the late teens, early 20s, and hopefully in a couple of years, they'll just be picking in the 30s and we'll have that as a regular thing. But we're going to dive a lot more into the draft in the coming weeks, in the coming shows. That each of the next 3 shows will absolutely have segments dedicated just to draft talk, position review, player review. So if you've got somebody in particular that you've got your eye on or that you're curious about, or somebody that on the opposite end of the spectrum, man, don't touch that guy with a 10-foot pole. Drop him in the comments. Leave me a line. Hit me up on social media and let's talk about him. Absolutely. Because we're going to be spending a lot of time the next 3 weeks. Plus keep your ears open and keep your eyes out on social media for some other opportunities to talk NFL draft between now and then. I'll just drop that little tease in there. That is going to do it for our show here tonight. Big shout out and thank you to each and every one of our sponsors. Planet Jerky, premium brisket beef jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. Go to planetjerky.net to place your order. Thank you also to Vital Apparel, the brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donate to mental health research. Go to vitalapparel.com, use the promo code IESR, and get 15% 10% off of your order. Thank you also to Seal the Deal Wax Seals. Go to iesportsradio.com/Seal the Deal Wax Seals to place your order. Thank you, of course, to IE Sports Radio for providing the platform for this show. You can follow along with us on all the social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search at IE Sports Radio. You can also go to iesportsradio.com for all the latest on the station. Thank you also to Raw Nutrition Supplements. Go to getrawnutrition.com. Use the promo code IESR for 10% off of your orders there. Thank you to everybody that was hanging out in the chat room with us tonight. Kathy Garnick, Brian Franklin, Chris Visconti, Jeff Osberg, Karen Rodriguez. Thank you one and all. And everybody that was watching the show tonight on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Finally, thank you to everybody that listened back on the show, whether it was across YouTube or Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, wherever your platform. Thank you for making this show part of your week. I really do appreciate it. Next week, it's April. The calendar will have flipped over to draft season. We will begin our in-depth draft analysis for the Chicago Bears. We will also, of course, be checking in on the Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox, and we might talk a little bit of college basketball next Monday night too, since, the national title game will be immediately following the show. Until then, I am Adam Karnick for Chi-Town Weekly and IE Sports Radio. I hope everybody has an outstanding and fantastic night and week. We will see you next time.